just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed. Nothing seems to fit. Goes up together, don't want to soul.
Which scene is better? Now this is literally going to be just be me venting about this movie and this movie, because I think both movies are actually kind of great, and I think both of these scenes are actually kind of goated. Like, if you go back and ask anybody about the
Did me some talking to the sun.
they're gonna tell you this scene is either just super funny or it stands out. Like, it really does stand out. And the same would go for the next movie's montage of a similar fashion. I mean, obviously this one, you know, is kind of the birthchild of this one, but both are doing similar things in different ways. And I just want to talk about how both are great and maybe pick a favorite. I don't know. We'll see. The raindrops are falling on my head scene. This is literally coming off of the most important and most serious scene in the movie. And that's what gives it its power. That's the point of it. The point is to hit you with a stark contrast of dark to light, because it grabs your attention immediately because you're like, what is this? But also what it does is it pulls you into not only how happy Peter seems to be with the side of his life, his responsibility put down, but it also goes to show how fake this all is. There's a level of facade to the whole montage, because you know this moment is the most out of character. This scene is literally made to feel unreal. It's made to feel like a fantasy, because it is. It's Peter's fantasy. It's Peter believing or trying to convince himself that this is what life is supposed to be, and this is like perfect. Meanwhile,
back at the wrench,
what we find out later on, as responsibility tends to kick back in, as life kicks back in as it does, is that this is not the reality. This may be what he wants life to be now they give up being Spider-Man, but what life actually is just as bad as it was, just you've dropped this part of your life. I referenced the Aunt May scene as that the pivotal scene that shows you being Spider-Man or not being Spider-Man, life is still going to be life. And all you've done is shirked one part of it, one pivotal part of it, and it's kind of lazy. You know, it's kind of selfish, and honestly isn't paying you back in the way you wanted to. That's why I think that this scene in this movie is doing and did amazingly. Now, what Spider-Man 3 does, is it does the same thing, but different way. So basically what this movie does, this scene comes after another very dramatic, weighty scene. Peter has his big falling out with Harry. They had the fight in his mansion, and he basically decimates him. He crushes his spirit to a degree. He really ruins the friendship, and then just to top it all off, the cherry, he throws a bomb in his face and leaves. And so the next thing you see is he literally gives into the black suit. You see him literally he's keeping it on. He's not going to give it up. And the first thing he does outside of, blowing up Harry's face is he goes and he ruins Eddie Brock's life.
Parker, you are such a Boy Scout. When are you going to give a guy a break?
Technically through, not forgiving him.
Get religion.
And exposing him, which isn't technically wrong, but the way he went about it was not, I don't think was right. It was very obnoxious, very cocky, and very, inconsiderate for Eddie's life and what the repercussions were going to be. He did not care at all, and he let that show.
You're fired!
And so after this scene,
we're going to have to print a retraction now.
I haven't printed a retraction in 20 years.
We go into the montage where you see he's letting it all go. You know, he's let go of, again, responsibility. But this time, he's letting go of Spider-Man. He's allowing his ego to fuel both sides. And so, whereas before, he acted selfishly and gave up the part of his life that was responsible, what he's doing here is he's basically just saying, I can have my cake and eat it too, but I'm still going to be selfish. I'm going to let my ego take over, and I'm just going to not care about my responsibility. Like, I'm still going to do the thing, but I'm not going to give any care to it. And we see again, this scene is, first of all, showing off how Peter trying to be cool is going to be nerdy. It's not cool. But what you also see is that it also is fake, because this is showing what Peter wants his life to be as free, to be as fun, to be as, you know, whatever this is, as he wants it to be. And what we find out is that at some point, it's going to all come to a head. This can't last.
Are you?
I don't know.
He's not himself. This is not him, and it took that to wake him up. He was dreaming. Both of these scenes are dreamlike because it's literally what Peter dreams of life to be, and both are a stark contrast to reality, what his life actually is. And I think that's a very cool story choice on the part of the writers and Sam Raimi to use scenes like this to show off, you know, what Peter really believes he deserves and what he wants, but the stark contrast of what life really is and what he has been called to do. So, I mean, both do a great job of what they set out to do. I personally think that while the Drive the Funky Soul one is more fun, the raindrop scene is just so well edited, it's so well acted, it's so well placed in the film. It's just, like, honestly, the perfect segue from that previous scene. It also just flows extremely well, and it's just a superb job by all involved. So I would say the raindrop scene is better, but both are great. That is it. That's all I had. Hopefully you liked the video. If not, thanks for staying anyway. And until next time, peace and deuces.